الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللكافرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you so much, Eva. With that, I'd like to invite our guest speaker for today. His name is Rehan Jaleel. A little bit about his background. He did his bachelor's from NED University in Pakistan. And after that, he came here to US and pursued his master's at Purdue and did some courses at Harvard Business School as well. And throughout his career, he has been at Sun and other various companies. And back in 2005, I believe, he started a startup, Ycoris, which was eventually sold to Tel Labs. And then he worked at Tel Labs for a while. Then he started another startup called Elastica, which was recently sold to Blue Coat for about $280 million. So mashallah, he has done well in this space. He knows how to get the startups up, and hopefully with his knowledge and experience, we can also gain some motivation and get some startups going. So with that, I would like to invite Rehan Jaleel.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. So this is certainly not about me. This is about you. When I heard about this format that you're going to be having discussions, so I didn't want to go into the too detailed story and bore you. I don't have that many slides, maybe two, which I want to create a bit of a framework so this discussion can be, maybe led around some of those things that I think are important. Also, in the slide you'll see that I'll try to keep it to basics, because I think if the basic foundations of whatever you're thinking, if they are on basic solid grounds on which are undebatable, not any sophistication, just undebatable solid, pieces, then the discussions that you're going to be having on your tables, I think is going to be worthwhile. So let me actually start by saying that why do you, or why should you actually innovate? Why should you build something new? Because why piece is important. If you are convinced yourself that that it needs worthwhile, then one thing is you're out of the way. Which means you're fully behind it, and your passion is there. And I'm going to try to basically, hopefully try to justify why you should actually go ahead and try to build something in any capacity. The second thing I'm going to try to put together is like what you should do. And the what piece is going to be, again, not go build a consumer tech or go build software, but actually just basic principles. So in every table you'll have some kind of interesting discussion. So let's start with the very first thing. I think it's certainly none of us can argue that we stand today as a human race on the shoulders of innovations of other people. You all came in a car, push the button, car started. It just didn't happen. People committed their lives over time to actually make that thing that we sat in and showed up here. Every piece in it, perhaps somebody built it. You go home, you open a tap, water flows up, you don't realize it. That wasn't there. I mean, that wasn't there even, maybe a few centuries back. People would not have access to water. Each and everything that makes our life better, it's somebody created it, that came before us, and we're standing on their shoulders, and we're living their life. We're living kind of a life on everybody else's shoulders. So we're living in this space. What you see here on the x-axis is the years, and on the left is what I will call it human prosperity, or call it economic growth. Since ever, hundreds of thousands of years, no human prosperity. Literally, the prosperity, GDP is the metric people use to understand human prosperity, or per capita income. It wouldn't change. Whoever is rich is perhaps going to stay, and whoever is poor is going to stay poor. But it changed just now, and it went bizarre. I mean, if you look at it, right now it's just a straight line. We're so lucky to be actually living in this era of straight line up. Talk about hockey stick. I don't think there is any hockey stick that you can actually see out there. So let's pause, and I'll ask you a question. Why did this thing happen now? What caused this thing to happen? It's just this discussion. It's not me just talking. Why do you think this thing happened? That definitely absolutely is one thing. But before internet, certain other things happened.
Industrial era.
Sorry?
Industrial era.
Industrial era. Anything else?
Computers.
There you go. Interestingly, just this century, maybe 120, 130 years back, people started printing press. Things started changing. Knowledge started, getting disseminated. And then engine got, and steam engine, and then diesel engine, and all those things started getting created. That didn't change the curve. That certainly changed significantly from the previous one. But what really changed significantly is electricity, electronics, and the microcomputer. Because if you see this red thing in 1940s is actually electronic computer. Changed everything. And we are absolutely blessed to be in a place which is actually called the Silicon Valley, which is the heart of this revolution, human prosperity, not just some cool stuff. It made the lives better. I'll give you some data on it. I don't know how economists gathered this data, but they agree on it. The data says that in the hunter-gatherer society, in 250,000 years it took for somebody to double the human prosperity, economic prosperity to be doubled. Which means if your income is like $100, you start making $200. It took 250,000 years. I don't know how they calculate this data, but they agree on it. Even in farming society, when there was nothing, it took 909 years of average doubling time of human prosperity. Now, it's 9 to 10 years, and it's less than that, and it's changing. So every 10 years, human prosperity is going to double. And the curve with all the cloud computing that's happened, this is just the tip of the iceberg on the cloud computing side of things. And people agree that with cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and maybe perhaps quantum compute, they actually think is going to go to 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes, as of today, it will double. Why? Now it looks like, how is it possible 20 minutes? But, look, this is an exponential curve. When you go there, it may actually happen. So, maybe very radical. The point I'm trying to simply make is, just like we're benefiting from the creation of others, what is our role as a group? We have to do a soul search. Would you want to contribute to this thing, where you put something in this thing, which help to change the curve, or at least let the curve go, and help the lives of others? So this is, I would say, at least for me, and I'm hoping for you, is the why. My contribution to the human race, just like others contributed to me, so that I can sit in a car, push the button, and be here in 10 minutes from San Jose downtown, right? So that's I would say, the why part of it, that we gotta be contributing, just like we benefit from others. As I said, I'm not going to go into the stories and any heroic acts which I would do, I did, or something. No, it's not about me, it's about you. And it's not about any complex framework. I'm going to simply talk about very basic thing. It's about alignment of purpose of being. What is your purpose of being in this world? And that purpose of being, Japanese actually is a word for it, and I'll talk about it. Where if you can align, certain things in your life personally, and if you're building a company, if you can align your company exactly on the same principles, success will come. So whether you're talking about software or hardware, consumer tech and all, I can almost guarantee you, simple framework, you would be able to talk about it using the same framework, right? So purpose of being, if you see on the corner, it starts from you. That's the bottom foundation. That's as in bold. Then if you're building a company, that's your team. Is their purpose of being is similar to what your purpose of being is? Because if it's not, there's not alignment and you'll be disagreeing on what you want to do as a company, as a team. And your culture will be totally devastated because the forces are not additive, they're pulling things apart. You can't build culture. And of course, we know Silicon Valley, we're blessed because there's money involved here. People who are willing to bet on you, they also believe that purpose is actually worth pouring money into it. If you're putting the sweat, is it worth their money? And then who you're building it for, the users and customers, of course, they are at the top. Because if there's no purpose, if there's no use of it, of that thing that you think you're going to be doing, then it's not going to work. So everything kind of starts from here. And this is not my creation, fundamental principles. First thing is, what the humans would need and benefit from. There are very fancy words when you go to business schools and all, very fancy words to do this thing, but it's very simple. Would I build something that humans would really benefit from and that they don't have access to that thing today? Because in technology, the way it works is you're trying to innovate something new, which is going to rapidly basically change and grow and go to the rest of the world. And then in the marketing terms, if I were to talk about it, like how many humans are going to benefit from it? 2, 1, 1,000, 1 billion, and it will change everything. Like which kind of impact you and your company will have, it will change everything. Like how many humans are going to benefit from it? Are they ready to consume it? Are you too early? Are you the only one thinking that's going to be needed? Or are you too late? Somebody already thought about it. There are many, many ways to, in the business lingo, in the business schools, you talk, but it's very simple. What the humans would need and would they benefit from it. Second thing is that what you love to do? Humans may need anything. Humans may need, anything, but it's not your love. It's not something that you would want. It may be the coolest thing out there. It may be the best thing you're hearing in the Silicon Valley, and all of a sudden it's very sexy. But it's in you. Is it something that you dream while you're showering or in your sleep? Whether you're finding solutions. Do you really love to actually solve this thing? Do you really love to build this thing? And that's what you should talk about. If you actually have both of these things, this can become your mission. Because for mission, what you need is a lot of energy, because if it doesn't become your mission, you're going to basically give it up. At the slightest indication of hardship or somebody complaining in your family or some hardship happening, you're going to give it up. So it's extremely important that a lot of humans need it. Can you make it your mission in life? Third thing is, do you have any expertise in it? I mean, yeah, building, let's say an artificial heart is a great thing, but I have no expertise and maybe you have it and maybe you don't. So yes, it could be that you really want to do, but you don't have expertise in it, or you haven't prepared yourself over time, or others are much better prepared than you. So it's extremely important to assess whether you have expertise in this area or whether you can build expertise in this area by putting some effort to a level that you could be classified as world expert. I really mean world expert when I say I really mean world expert, because you will be competing in this marketplace. Somebody else would also have this as their mission, and the mission will collide with somebody else's mission, and you want to make sure that you're ready for it. So building expertise doesn't mean that you're born with it. You'll learn. So it could be it's an adjacency, it could be that you inherently know it, it could be this is your strong muscle, but you have to learn something new. And if that happens, that can become your passion because you have love for it and you have expertise for it, right? Fourth thing, which you should talk about today, can you get paid for it? Because it's not practical to do things. They don't sustain. If there is no economic business plan tied to it. Business plan may be a very sophisticated word. It's very simple. And it's not just whether you get paid for it, it's just everyone in the chain that is on the top right, do they benefit, do they get paid for it? It's not just your pay, it's your team, it's your people who are putting money into it, and maybe customers have benefit tied to it. Do they all actually prosper and they get paid for it? Because if you have that, then it will sustain. If you don't have that, it means you're trying to build something that you can sell for the same amount that it costs to build. Or people are not willing to pay for it. It would not last. There has to be some perpetual engine behind it that, if you build, it's going to sell, and, this machine is going to go. So it's extremely important for you to understand whether you can get paid for it. If you do that, that we call professional. Because you have expertise in it, people are willing to pay for it, that's your profession. It becomes your profession. Otherwise, it may be hobby. I love to play guitar, I love to play something else, or basketball or something. But maybe you have to see where you get paid for. Now, similarly, overlap of if I get paid for and people will really use it, it's called vocation. If you understand vocation, it's like a strong sense of purpose, a strong sense that whatever you're doing is benefiting others. Is that your profession that you've chosen, that actually is a strong sense that is benefiting others. So it then becomes your vocation. And at the center, if you combine all these things, that can become the purpose of being. Like, why do I exist? And same, why do I exist, also ties to your team, why do they exist? And your company, why do they exist? Because if they don't have all those four things for a company also, they shouldn't exist. I will argue that in your ideas and all, use this as a basic principle. To say, if I don't have all these four things, I shouldn't exist, I should do something else, and be honest about it. Right? And in Japanese, they call it akagai, which is really, actually literally means purpose of being. That's your purpose of being. So, again, this was in your discussions today, I will leave this thing up. And I would suggest that you pick up on these things. And then you can, mechanically, we can always talk about it, and I'm available here.